thanks to Labor. And all thanks, I might add, to the turgid Teals and the grotesque Chris Bowen and Anthony Albanese.
I don't have time for bonking, and I've made it quite clear in the past I can't even get to first base.
We shouldn't be surprised.
And I'm starting to get a real conscience about that. What is wrong with me?
It's official. Australia is currently suffering under the laziest, stupidest and most inept government in our nation's history.
That's my style. I hope you've noticed that. The truth is that...
And that is putting it mildly. Every single day we are confronted with the latest example of just how hopeless these Labor, Greens and Teals fools are and the damage they are doing to our national prosperity.
We have an agenda to build on that in our second term.
Just in the last few days, for example, we've learned that a $750 million upgrade of the NBN, which was supposed to benefit thousands of homes and businesses and inject billions of dollars into the national economy, has so far delivered an extra 100 customers. Well done.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you.
Elon Musk really showing contempt for the government and its approach on this issue. What's your take on the tech billionaire?
So when it comes to the tech billionaire, like I've already said, I think he's a social media knob with no social conscience. He has absolutely no social conscience. Someone like that should be in jail and the key be thrown away. That bloke should not have a right to be out there on his own ideology platform and creating hatred.
Billionaire Elon Musk is being congratulated for his win against the Australian government. Federal court judge overturned a temporary ban of videos of the Western Sydney church stabbing on X.
Yes! This is what victory feels like. Yeah!
Someone like that should be in jail. What is wrong with me?
Musk's satellite service, Starlink, is providing better internet service.
And I've made it quite clear in the past I can't even get to first base.
As many of you watching will know. Starlink's speed is much faster and it's more reliable than the NBN satellite business. Starlink now has 200,000 customers, according to figures quoted by the ACCC. And in NBN's latest report, it showed that their satellite customers had crashed by 23% and they were down to just 86,000 customers. It seems they were so embarrassed by being beaten by the tech billionaire that they've decided to kill off any notion of transparency. The NBN has stopped its decade-long practice of publishing weekly data on their customers.
Delete. The truth, that's what we've done.
Well done. This comes on top of the claims that Labor's $10 billion Housing Australia Future Fund has built 0 homes in 3 years. Top-notch stuff, guys. Well done.
Thank you.
Oh, and of course, we've got the predictable news that regulated electricity prices are expected to rise by $200 a year in parts of the country.
I mean, this is a rolling fast. It's actually just a scam.
And he just went into his shell.
You're a loser, baby, a loser, goddamn baby.
A traitor, in my very strong view.
Great job, team. As Peter Dutton says, Chris Bowen and Anthony Albanese have presided over a broken promise of a 275 electricity cut, which was made on 97 occasions before the last election.
When a politician makes a commitment before an election, they keep it, and I intend to do just that. What we need as well is to have that certainty. People have made assessments based upon...
My word is my bond, but I had my fingers crossed.
And as I said, there's too much of it allowed and perpetrated in Parliament House in my very strong view.
I think it's time for Chris Bowen to be sacked, said Peter Dutton. Hear, hear.
And it's not okay. Someone's got to call it out.
Then we had the disaster of the tariffs imposed on our steel and aluminium, which Penny Wong at least only learnt about through the media.
Can you contain yourself? It's like you've got Tourette's or something. Is that the one where you can't stop talking?
You just sit there, babble, babble, babble.
And they're passing the message on to a press sec before they're passing it on to their allies. I mean, that is kind of humiliating, isn't it?
Well, I think what we want to say is that
Seagulls are very noisy and they hurt my ears.
this isn't we have a difference of view on this.
What a farce. Albanese and Wong described Trump's tariffs on Australia as no way to treat a friend.
You're playing shit because you got no friends. Everyone hates me.
As if installing Kevin Rudd, a man who has for years made vicious comments about Donald Trump, was a friendly act. That would be the same Albanese and Wong, by the way, who at every possible opportunity...
I want to change the way that politics operates in this country. I want it to be more inclusive. I want it to be more respectful. And today I'll make this point. That
in the last 3 years have treated our great friend Israel with nothing but contempt. You don't think Donald Trump hasn't noticed the way Australia has sided against the US and Israel at the United Nations? Of course he has.
showing respect costs nothing. It enriches all of us.
He kind of looks like a hypocrite.
The whole world is talking about Australia's shift to anti-Semitism under Wong and Albanese.
Which is what we have done for a long period of time.
As for the tariffs, as Adam Crichton pointed out in the Australian newspaper, quote, as a country, we should be far more concerned about the largely self-inflicted reasons that the Whyalla steelworks, for example, collapsed, rather than about the theoretical future impacts of US tariffs. Billions of taxpayers' dollars the federal government is spending to bail out Whyalla, not to mention the de facto tax on energy that contributed to its collapse in the first place, dwarf whatever damage the Trump tariffs will cause.
And if you're not convinced yet of that, I think I'm going to be unlikely to convince people if they're not convinced with all the evidence.
The biggest tariffs on Australian aluminium and steel have not been imposed by Donald Trump, but by Anthony Albanese and Chris Bowen. Labor's energy policies and the massive increase in energy prices that resulted have made the production of these metals economically unviable in this country. And the taxpayer subsidies Labor brought in to compensate for those high energy prices are actually the justification for Trump to impose his tariffs.
Now we have to deal with the consequences of that.
He would see them, says Burt, logically as Australia subsidising our producers to give them an advantage over American producers. So our manufacturers lose both ways, all thanks to Labor.
Unequivocally. I've had demonstrated, I think, my ability to work with world leaders and to develop relationships with them which are positive.
Bullshit.
And that's something that I'm very proud of my party for having created.
All thanks to Labor.
It's what Labor governments do.
It's an example that this government just isn't up to it. And we need a better government.
All thanks to Labor. And all thanks, I might add, to the turgid Teals and the grotesque Greens. Whenever the election comes, it can't come soon enough. We have to get rid of this Albanese government.